Welcome, everyone.
I was wondering where this is going. The mayor is here.
Thank you all for being here. We've got some great awards that we're going to be giving out tonight. It's so important to preserve our history and to be able to celebrate it as well. And so we're going to be doing that here this evening. As we do, though, I would like to recognize, and by the way, my name is Mark Turner. I'm the mayor of Morgan Hill and your MC this evening. And I would like to thank you. Thank you. I'd also like to introduce another mayor, the mayor of San Jose, who is here this evening. Would you please give a warm round of applause to Mayor Matt Mahan.
Thanks, Mayor Turner. How are you all doing? Good. Hey, this is a great turnout and a beautiful evening. Thanks to Bill Schroe for hosting us here this evening in History Park. Where's Bill? I saw him there. There he is. Thank you so much for all the work you do to preserve our history here, Bill. Deserves a big round of applause. I also want to thank Paul Bayham and Terry Johnson for the work that they're doing and just recognizing all of you out here doing the important work of preserving and celebrating our history and helping to inspire the next generation by looking back and learning lessons. You know, I talk a lot about change and all the things we need to do going forward, but I have to admit my heart is really in history. That was always my favorite subject in school. I loved learning about where we came from. And it isn't just about that old adage that, you know, those who fail to learn from their history are doomed to repeat it. To me, it's also about a sense of belonging. You know, we live in a world where everything's about efficiency, everything's become very, very modularized, very cookie cutter, very homogenous. And it's nice to be from a place that has a story and to be able to see that and walk around and connect with those stories. My mom's side of the family came here 4 generations ago from Genoa and worked in the apricot orchards and in the canneries, and really growing up on those stories gave me a sense of connection to San Jose, a city that at the time I didn't even live in. I was living in Watsonville on the other side of the hill, but I always grew up on stories of San Jose's history. And it gave me a real sense of connection. In fact, even when I went off to college, I was always talking about wanting to come back to San Jose and felt a real special connection to our city. And so that's really, to me, what this is about. It's that sense of community, of belonging, of having a tribe, having a community you're part of. And it's about our collective story of where we've been, what makes us who we are, and where we're going together that's so special about history. So thanks for having me, and thanks again to everybody. Congratulations to all the awardees. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Mayor Mahan. I do like to announce, I think we have a few other dignitaries here we'd like to make mention of. County Supervisor Cindy Chavez is here, and I think, Supervisor, you're going to say a few words? If you have a few words to say, we'll just give you a round of applause as she makes her way up. Just have to climb up the front of the stage. It's
Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I am so honored to be with all of you today, and I'm thrilled that so many of you are being acknowledged. You know, one of the things that's so beautiful about San Jose, Santa Clara County is how many stories there are.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to thank each and every one of you for protecting and preserving those stories in a million different ways. And really, I came tonight, I know we have some small certificates for you, but really, truly, the reason I came tonight was say thank you. Because what you preserve and protect allows the next generation to learn, to appreciate, to feel connected to the community that we've grown to love so much. So thank you very, very much for letting me be with you. And I'm so excited to see all of the preservation organizations working together, because preserving history is hard work, as each of you know. And if we don't do it as a team, we're not going to be nearly as effective. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great night.
Good evening, I'm State Senator Dave Cortese, and I too am here to, I think first and foremost, congratulate the awardees. What a list of honorees tonight. I got to see that when the invitation came around, and one, it's great to recognize so many of those names. I think each and every one of them, and the other is to realize as you think and as you reflect, and I think we'll have an opportunity to do that this evening as those awards are given out, how they've touched this community, especially in the context of preservation, which is so important. I think it's important. I guess I'm a little biased. Some people, say that won't get you much anymore. Being around for 3 generations or talking about or remembering what happened generations ago here. But I think it does more than that. I think it's important, and I think unless you know where you've been, where you came from, you're not really going to chart the course going forward. You're not really going to know where your North Star is as a community. When people who don't know the history of this valley, they ask about it, right? How many times do you get that question? Well, what was it really like? What was it really like? It's such a joy to share what we know, but it also tells you something. They wouldn't be asking if it wasn't important, if it didn't mean something at a deeper level. So keep up the good work. Thank you all, and I look forward to the next big event. Great turnout, great San Jose turnout. Thank you.
Okay, we're now going to introduce History San Jose President and CEO Bill Schroe to welcome you and to say a few words. Bill?
I would also like to welcome you to the 2nd annual Santa Clara County Preservation Alliance Awards. As Terry Johnson, our chairman, said in his welcome letter, we are better together. This event is about networking, sharing, and collaborating with other like-minded preservation and historical groups, and honoring some folks for their contributions to our shared cultural heritage. At this time, I would like to introduce our Preservation Alliance team. Would the team stand up if they're sitting down, or raise their hand, or wave? So we have Terry Johnson, who is the president of the New Almaden Quicksilver County Park, and Vice Chair of the Santa Clara County Historical Heritage Commission. We have Bill Hare. There he is. He is a commissioner on the Santa Clara County Historical Heritage Commission, as well as the president of the Milpitas Historical Society. Gail Frank. Where's Gail? There she is. She is on the Preservation Action Council, as well as a member of the California Pioneers of Santa Clara County. We have Annette Stransky. Is Annette here? There she is in the back.
All right, our next award. On behalf of the La Raza Historical Society of Santa Clara Valley, Rosanna Alvarez is being presented the Distinguished Preservation Service Award for preserving regional La Raza cultural contributions through writing, publishing, teaching, and performing. Presenting the award is Dr. Ramon Martinez.
Wrong. Well, we made a slight change. Dr. Martinez is sitting down there. I am Dr. Herrera, Joel Herrera at your service. And we are here to honor Rosanna Alvarez. Rosanna identifies as a multifaceted, interdisciplinary artist while simultaneously sharing her life lessons as a poet, a published author, and an educator. She teaches at San Jose State University and is the co-founder and editorial director of Eastside Magazine. And we have complimentary copies for you on that first table over here with our sister and brother organization, the Milpitas Historical Society. That magazine documents Eastside history and amplifies historical community stories. Rosanna works across artistic mediums as an effort toward historical recovery. She serves on the Silicon Valley Creates Equity Council. We are pleased and honored to present Rosanna on behalf of the board of the La Raza Historical Society of Santa Clara Valley. And since we are who we are, I'm going to invite you to join in two que vivas. And it goes like this. I'm going to say que viva Rosanna, and you respond by going que viva. And then we'll do that twice. Que viva Rosanna Alvarez. Que viva. Que viva Rosanna Alvarez. Que viva. I present to you On behalf of the board of La Raza Historical Society, Rosanna Alvarez.
You know, I am not shy on the microphone, and in fact, when they said, keep it short, I said, well, I'll be short, but I don't know about my remarks, because for a living, and to give myself life, and to represent my communities, time, space, it's important. And as I thought about what I might say today, and the million ways I can spin this, my nephew unblocked me over there. That's the toddler screeching in the back. And it was important for him to be here because history and preservation should be intergenerational. And it's important that we live this history and activate this history and keep it engaging so that those babies want to screech and holler about it all day long. I get to spend the bulk of my time in classrooms with college students. I've spent time in classrooms with 9th graders. I've spent a lot of time babysitting. I'm the firstborn of 9. And history is important. It's important to remember the folks that have shaped this valley. It's important to remember that oftentimes all of the names won't make it onto the roster. And so I chose my wardrobe with purpose on purpose today and designed this shirt based off of a poem that is a living legacy to my grandmothers. And I come from the fields, from the canneries, from the semiconductors. I myself had the luxury of being in a college classroom surrounded by PhD doctors and brilliant minds that have lived that life in the fields, in the canneries, in the semiconductors, have those beautiful titles and get to be part of that historical archival legacy of folks who remind us, right, in documentaries, in written form, in fun projects that we get to take part in, that history needs to be told generation after generation after generation. And I feel like the scope of my work really has been about how do we bridge what's already there with what needs to be written, with what's already happened, and bringing it together so that everybody feels included. The lovely thing about today is that we're in an open space. We can make room for so many people here. And yet, sadly, that isn't the historical context under which we have to navigate, right? I get told often by students, I never saw myself reflected in the history. And so my work is, how do I bridge you to the reality that history is there? It's documented, it's in documentaries, those are fun to watch. It's in books, it's in the library. We need more than just the 5th floor, right? And so sometimes I come in a little hot, and I do that on purpose, with purpose, because I'm trying to remind folks whose lives depend on their ability to access those stories and that history. And it's a beautiful thing to be surrounded here with folks who are so passionate about sharing history with each other that I feel some kind of fired up. And I want to take that out, right, to folks who might not see the path to this park and this space and this place so that they can be fired up and they want to dig up those dusty books and they want to preserve the buildings that are falling apart and they remember that Silicon Valley was a valley of heart's delight, and before that, field, human beings who put their dirt in the soil. So I go back to my nephew who decided he was going to reach up to my skirt and smear it in strawberry. And I panicked for a split second, and then I said, you know what? That is historical legacy activated right there, reminding me where I come from and why I'm here. And I'm here carrying so many stories and people with me in reclamation and declaration that our history matters, our names matter. So in closing, because I know some of y'all are wondering, you're like, she really gonna go for 3 hours? No, I'm not.
But you could.
I could.
We want her to.
Right? I'll leave you with a poem and some names of a roll call here. And the poem will be short and sweet, not an epic one by any means. But I often in this work imagine that world that I think we all see, and it's why we do this type of work. It's a world where everyone owns the poetry that flows in their veins. A world where every word spoken leaves us less broken, tending with heart to our pains. We swallow less truths, we're less harsh with our use, more merciful in our refrains. Imagine a world where everyone owns the poetry that flows in their veins. And history is the key to that poetic flow. So I am here reminding us and reclaiming our stories and knowing that engagement activation alongside preservation is important. And I call in that historical legacy of Ernestina Garcia, Sofía Mendoza, Esther Medina, Consuelo Jiménez, Blanca Alvarado, Hermelinda Sapien, Shirley Treviño, and las mujeres de Aztlán. I call in Laura Castro, Elisa Marina Alvarado, las hermanas Montoya, the Castro sisters that go way, way back. And then it's important to also remember the unnamed and the unclaimed but equally lived her stories. Mercedes Campos Alvarez, Ruth Chacon Martinez, Evi Chacon, Rosanna Martinez, the original Rosanna over there, my mother. Alicia Limos, thank you for joining us tonight. Betty Martinez, Rita Herrera, Andrea Alvarez, Sandy Tapia, Elizabeth Quiros Medrano.